Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. How are you doing? I hope you're all doing wonderful, that you're enjoying small happy moments throughout your days. I'm sending you a big virtual hug just to tell you that I've missed you really much. And I'm back today with a video that I think and I believe you would like. As you might see from the title, it's a little bit different, so I want to cover my 2023 highlight reads, or more accurately to the point, the most interesting books I read. As I grow older, this whole concept of favorite books or enjoyable books changes a lot. For me, I don't rate or star books anymore. I don't give them a rating either. I enjoy different books differently. Just different books are supposed to be enjoyed differently, and so I'm not so much into rating books or just kind of ranking them, and I'd rather just highlight the interesting parts about different works that I've read. And I do have a couple with me today. I just hope that you will find something here that will pique your interest just as it piqued mine. Yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books or if any of them sound interesting. And I think I have my pile here. I'm looking at it now. I'm not sure where to start or which kind of rationale should I work with. I'm just gonna randomly pick one, and let's start with this one here. The first book that I read that I thought was quite interesting is Mona by Paula Olaik-Sharak. This I knew I would say the name wrong. The author is actually Peruvian. The author is Argentinian, and this was translated from the Spanish. We follow the life of Mona, our protagonist, who's a writer, and she is on her way to this literary conference, but she's just not sure about the space she occupies within the literary world. She's not sure about the space she occupies as a woman with different and mixed origins, with a different human experience, with a mix and match of personality in a way that make her this colorful whole, as she describes it. And so as she's on her way to this literary reunion or conference or event with other authors, she reflects on her life or the different moments in her life that led her to be that writer and that author, but mostly what she stands for as a writer, as an artist. The end was quite a bit of a mess. It's very metaphorical, and it's very abstract as a read, and the metaphor or the abstraction keeps going higher and higher until it turns into sheer fantasy at the end. Especially the last scenes, there are quite some interesting reflection about the process of making art, the process of writing, but also other forms of art like music and how they serve the human experience, and just reflection about these different things that lead us to be the artist that we are or that we can be. So it's interesting, it's definitely special. I've highlighted quite some passages. Let me see if I can read you one, for example. It's also very political, and for example, this is a political passage. The question I'd like to propose we take up is this: how do we create collective forms of resistance in the current political landscape? What can we do anymore besides tweet? Is there some kind of absolute power still out there ruling over us? Is there still a singular monster worth fighting? And if so, who is that monster and where is it hidden? This one I like. Music was a transparent field in which genius and mediocrity were self-evident truth, and this only ever led to hatred, distrust, and malaise. No doubt about it. Not knowing each other's language was the key to conviviality, because if we were able to read what everyone else was writing, if we were able to understand it and feel it like music, the Russian calmly concluded, well, then we'd be murdering each other in our beds. Very interesting. So if you are into this type of discourses, you should pick it up. In the same realm of things that are not very usual to the brain, I would go with The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides. I can't pronounce this name. This is a famous modern classics about these four sisters that end up committing. The whole book reads like these lucid dreams, because basically we're just following this family of parents and their four daughters living in this suburban area, and we are looking at these daughters or these four girls through the eyes of the other boys living in the neighborhood, and how throughout their lives these four girls were the subject of so much curiosity and questioning. They were just so mysterious and so much mystery around them, and so we follow their life through the eyes of these boys. And I mean, it's not really a spoiler, but exactly, it's just this very lyrical but also super melancholic and borderline weird tale of the tragic life of these girls. And there's always some mystery lurking around, but it's actually not a mystery, and a lot of ups and downs, and a lot of moments when you don't fully know as a reader whether you are fully grasping what's being said. The reading experience is really, really interesting, and so basically we just follow their lives until the moment the tragedy strikes, and it's just really, really strange but very interesting to read, and something definitely out of the ordinary. Next one on my list is Nightbat to Tanger by Kevin Barry, an Irish author. To be honest, I was first interested in this book a few years ago, mostly because of the title. It just makes me feel some type of way, to be honest. Nightbat to Tanger. There's some connotation. I also love Tanger as a city. I'm Moroccan, and it just feels great. And it kind of is, because we follow these two men that are waiting for a boat to arrive from Tanger to El Jazeera's. So they are in Al Jazeera's port waiting for a night boat to come to Tanger, bringing a person they are looking for. So we learn more details about this person and their relation to the two main characters, these two men we are following, and we also dive into their dark past as drug dealers, dealing their life a little bit all across Europe and also in Morocco at some point, and everything they've been through and what made them who they are. There are a lot of topics here like friendship, fatherhood, struggle, choices, life choices, this kind of just very retrospective look at life, and again what happened to lead us there. The atmosphere is very dark. The language is a little bit difficult because it's very slangy, but it was just really, really nice. And in some places and parts it was really, really sad, and I don't think I cried actually, but it was really, really sad. I'm trying to see if I have anything I can read to you guys. Oh, I have something here. They talk of aging and death. They talk of those they have crossed and those they have helped, of their first loves and lost loves, of their enemies and friends. They talk of the old days in Cork and in Barcelona and in London and in Malaga and in the ghosted city of Cadiz. They talk of the feelings of those places. They talk about being here once again on the coast of Barbary as though on a magnet's drag. Next is 3 o'clock in the morning by Genrico Carofiglio, an Italian writer. Some of you might know I've been really into Italian literature lately. It's really written from somewhere else. I just truly love the craft of Italian literature I've been reading so far. This is the story about a man and his son. His son is suffering from a condition, and so they have to make a trip to Marseille in France for a day, and in that day, as a treatment, his son cannot sleep for I think 24 hours or more, and so basically they just roam around the city. They didn't have much chance getting to know each other or living with each other, the parents being separated, so they don't have a very stable relationship, and so they use this time in Marseille roaming around to discover layers of depth about each other, and it's just amazing. The description of the city here is one of those instances where the city is a character, and I feel like the Italian writers do this so well. Wink wink to Last Summer in the City, the other book I mentioned before, and it's just so well written, so beautifully written, amazing, short, but really powerful. And I'm trying to find, I'm for sure I highlighted a lot of things here. I'm just trying to find something, a little something to read for you. Fitzgerald was a great writer and an unhappy man. There's a sentence of his I often think about. In a real dark night of the soul, it is always 3 o'clock in the morning. Beautiful. A book in Arabic by Ghassan Kanafani, the Palestinian author. This is عائد إلى Haifa, or the English title is Returning to Haifa, or The Return to Haifa. I have to double check and leave it here. This is a very short novella documenting the moment a Palestinian couple comes back to Haifa, to their old house where they used to live before the Israeli occupation, before that one day in 1948 where Israeli soldiers go into the city and just seize houses and put people into boats and ship them away, Palestinian people into boats and ship them away. And so the author is reminiscing that specific day, and also the time it took him to get from his car to the house where his wife and his kids were, and they will take a decision, or they will do something in the day 1948 that will really change the course of their lives. So him and his wife returned to this some decades ago, and they are faced to a reality, and they meet what could have been their lives, and it's really heart-shattering, but also so insightful and so thought-provoking, and it's such a timely piece to read. I do have a passage highlighted, but it's in Arabic. I will still read it, and I will leave the translation here maybe. وكانت عيناها تنتفقان بالدموع، لا ريب أنها قال لنفسه تستعيد خطواتها ذلك اليوم ذاته، حين كان هو أقرب ما يكون إلى البحر، وكانت هي أقرب ما تكون إلى الجبل، وبينهما يمد الرعب والضياع، خيوطهما غير المرئية فوق مستنقع من الصراخ والخوف والمجهول. It's such a beautiful sentence in Arabic, so let's see if I can try to translate it to English. Okay, next is a book that you've probably seen a lot of, and this is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. Really nice book set in the 50s, where we follow our main character, our chemist, Elizabeth Zott, that is a very talented scientist, a very great scientist at what she does, but considering some circumstances, especially at the time, she is forced to take a job as a culinary host on TV, hosting a cooking show. But she starts using all her chemistry knowledge and her chemistry magic into that cooking show, and the result is just this funny but really light-hearted but still very moving story. She also shares her life with her dog, who's one of my favorite characters in books. I love that dog. I wished I could, see him in real life, and her daughter, and we just also get a sneak peek into her life. It's really well written. To be honest, when I knew what it was about, I was a bit scared that it will fall into this sketchy, stereotypical, super feminist narrative and discourse, which I'm not a big fan of, but it was really so well done and so well executed, and it was just really a fun, but also just is such a warm book to read, and it was perfect for me when I read that. It was really what I wanted and what I needed and what I craved in that moment. Now we're moving to French books. I have, well, two, both of them from Nobel Prize winners actually. That's good. The first book is L'événement by Annie Ernaux. Annie Ernaux was the 2022 Nobel Prize winner. This is her very famous book where she describes in a grilling detail the story of her abortion. I was not expecting this. Going into this, I was very cautious, like I am normally with these topics in general, and I was not expecting that, but I literally, the whole time I was reading this book, my veins were so cold, like I felt my blood freezing. The details were really hard to read, but also what was very interesting and maybe a characteristic of Annie Ernaux writing is how detached she was from the story, even though she's telling the story of herself. We know that this is a biographical account, but there was such a detachment that what you were reading as a reader was almost meant to be just some mundane event, and this is also the name of it. In the same vein, I also read her book Les Années, and this is really just an account of her years and her life, kind of describing her life in the lights of social and political events that have shaped France and the world. So it's again this very detached biographical account done so well, like really woven this nostalgia textures in such a great timeless way. La distance qui sépare le passé du présent se mesure peut-être à la lumière répandue sur le sol, entre les ombres, glissant sur les visages, dessinant les plis d'une robe, à la clarté crépusculaire, quelle que soit l'heure de la pose d'une photo en noir et blanc. This kind of writing, so lyrical, my favorite kind of writing. And that takes me to my chef kiss read of this year. This is one of those instances where I will use the word favorite. This was really one of those books that I wish I wrote, or this is the book I envision to write one day, or the kind of storytelling and narration that I aspire to write and like to bring out into the world one day. This is Dans le café de la jeunesse perdue by Patrick Modano, also a Nobel Prize winner, I think, in 2013 or 2014. There is also an English version of this. I was actually going to read this one, and then I was like, oh, but I should just read the French version. The original, it was originally, of course, written in French. The English title is In the Café of Lost Youth. Can we just take a moment to appreciate the lyrical nature of that title? We follow our main protagonist going down memory lane, or just reminiscing of his past lives, his young life, and especially reminiscing about this cafe he used to go to and the people populating that cafe and how they relate to him and how they've shaped some part of him and how he carries this all these years through. There's also love interest, how the pieces of those relationships still persist throughout time, and the writing is so nostalgic, full of melancholy, full of like poetic resonance and just remembering the past. And it's one of my favorite themes in literature in general, is remembering the personal experiences in the past, and this is exactly what we got here. It's truly a wonderful, wonderful book. J'ai senti pour la seule fois de ma vie ce qu'était l'éternel retour. Jusque-là, je m'efforçais de lire des ouvrages sur le sujet, avec une bonne volonté d'autodidacte. C'était juste avant de descendre les escaliers de la station de métro Église d'Auteuil. Pourquoi à cet endroit? Je n'en sais rien et cela n'a aucune importance. Je suis restée un moment immobile et je lui ai serré le bras. Nous étions là, ensemble, à la même place, de toute éternité, et notre promenade à travers Auteuil, nous l'avions déjà faite au cours de 1000 et 1000 autres vies. Pas besoin de consulter ma montre, Je savais qu'il était midi. Beautiful, beautiful. I would highly recommend this book. It's really amazing. If you were to pick any book of this selection, this would be it. And with that, we come to an end. I hope that you found a little bit of inspiration from this list and from this selection, and that you enjoyed spending this little moment with me after a while. Let me know in the comments below how you are doing. I'm just curious to know how many of you are still around. I know that I'm not posting constantly or consistently, but yeah, I'm doing the best I can, and I'm just grateful for those of you who are still around, and just yeah, always happy and looking forward to your comments. And thank you to everybody who sent me a message asking me if I was okay. I also got emails from you guys. This is truly lovely and so heartwarming. With that being said, have a wonderful morning, day, evening, rest of the day, week, weekend, whenever you're watching this. Big kisses. Bye.